morning, welcome to day 12 of Vlogmas. So it's Monday morning here. Can't believe it's day 12 already. That means we're halfway through Vlogmas and I feel like it's really whizzed by. So yeah, Monday morning here, and this morning my children were very excited because we woke up and found it snowed overnight. There had been some headlines yesterday saying maybe up to 6 inches of snow would fall in London and the southeast, and yeah, I didn't really know whether any snow would fall. We woke up and it's not 6 inches by any means, it's just a light covering, but it was quite exciting to see still. It definitely wasn't enough to stop school going ahead, so school was open. My daughter, I think, was a little bit disappointed about that, but it wasn't really enough to go outside to build a snowman or anything anyway, so they weren't missing out on that. But it was quite an exciting start to the day and does make me feel quite Christmassy because we don't usually get snow here at this time of year. Every now and then, every few years, we'll get a bit of snow, but in recent years it's more been sort of January, February time, never before Christmas. So that was quite an exciting start to the day, and I took a bit of video of my walk home from the school run, so I'll pop that in a little bit so you can see how where I live looked like with a little smattering of snow. So yeah, that was how our morning started. Our morning also started as usual with the discovery of what Elf had been up to overnight. My children came downstairs and found that Elf had set up a little doctor's clinic in our front room, and yeah, he'd got all the toy doctors and equipment out. He was even wearing a cute little sort of surgeon's hat, so he was looking very official. He'd got a stethoscope around his neck and everything. I'll put a picture up so you can see. And there was an absolutely huge line of toys waiting to see him. All sorts of toys, cuddly toys, Sylvanians, ponies. Yeah, pretty much every toy, all snaking all around our house. So I'll try and put in a few pictures of the queue. So I guess, yeah, it was quite a popular doctor's clinic. I guess it's the time of year where probably a lot of the toys might be feeling a little bit under the weather with sort of colds and bugs. So yeah, Elf looked like he was in for a busy day there, dealing with all those toys. So my children got stuck in and helped him. We actually ended up running a little bit late for school because they were so enjoying helping run the doctor's clinic. So yeah, we only just got to school in time, but it was lovely to see them enjoying Elf's set up this morning. So that was quite a jolly start to the morning. And then in terms of what I'm wearing today, well, when I looked out of the window this morning, it looked very chilly out there indeed, with the snow and the sort of snowy sky and everything. So I decided to reach for a cosy sweater dress, and I made this sweater dress using this pattern here, which is the South Bank sweater dress and top pattern by Nina Lee. I really like this pattern. I've made a few versions of it. I've made a few versions of the cropped top version here, and also a couple of versions of the dress as well. And this pattern has a really good size range too. I've got the UK size 6 to 20 version, but there's also, I think, a UK size 16 to 28 version as well. But it's a really nice pattern. It's got this funnel neck, which is nice and cozy, a slightly dropped shoulder. It's got fairly narrow fitting sleeves, and the whole pattern has quite a close fit to it. It's definitely not designed to be oversized like, say, the Megan Nielsen Jarrah sweatshirt or the Mile End sweatshirt. It's much, yeah, more close fitting, I find. So I made a few versions of the crop version. The version I made today is this sweater dress here with the hemband on the bottom. And this is the first version I made of the sweater dress. I think this might be actually my first ever Nina Lee South Bank of any type I sewed. And I really enjoyed sewing it up actually. It comes together really nicely, and it's got a really lovely cosy neckband that's not super snug, but is quite nice and cozy. It doesn't sort of fall down, it sort of stays around your neck and keeps you nice and cozy, which is what I wanted today. And I made my version in this really lovely fabric. It is a Mind the Maker fabric. It's their chevron quilted knit fabric. So you can see it's really cute. It's a cotton fabric, and then it's got a sort of layer of polyester wadding in between the two cotton layers, and it's all stitched together with this chevron quilt on, which I think is a really cute and a bit different design to it. I think this is called the red version, or is it Bordeaux? I'm not sure. I think they have quite a wide range of this fabric in stock at Minerva, so I'll link it down below, and I'll put the details of the colour I'm wearing down below because I can't remember this colour. But it's a really lovely rich red colour. And for this version of the South Bank sweater, I went for the size 8. So I went for the size 8, which is designed for bust 34, waist 26 and hips 35.5. So the waist and hips are pretty much my measurements. The bust is slightly larger, but I didn't want this one to be super close fitting. I wanted to have it as kind of a fairly relaxed sweater dress that I could layer up. I've got a t-shirt underneath this morning, so I'm layered up to keep cozy. And then for this version, I lengthened it a bit because when I'd looked online to see how it looked like it came up on other people, it looked like it was quite short, the South Bank dress. So I didn't want mine super short. I wanted it to be really cozy and a bit longer. So I think I added at least a couple of inches to the length to bring it a bit closer to my knee. It's still a bit above my knee, but it's definitely closer to my knee. The only thing I think I might change if I made it again is I added pockets on, which I do actually quite like on this dress. I know a lot of people don't like the pockets on the South Bank, so I think they're a bit too bulky, but I quite like the extra coziness the pockets add. But I lengthened the dress above the pockets, and I think the pockets have ended up a bit too low now. They come quite a long way down below where I'd normally expect a pocket to be. I don't really use them too much, so it doesn't really matter, but I think if I made it again, I just bring those pockets up slightly. I'll stand up so you can see where they are, so you see what I mean. So you can see as I go down there, they are quite far down the dress. So yeah, I probably would bring them up if I made it again. But this fabric is really nice and cozy to wear. I was very reluctant to get out of my pyjamas this morning, but once I put this dress on, it did feel like a bit like I was wearing a nice blanket. So yeah, I'm really enjoying wearing it actually. And I like the fact the neckline isn't too loose, so it does really stay there with this slightly sort of stiffer fabric. I guess if it was in a lighter weight jersey fabric, it'd probably crinkle down, but because this fabric's a little bit more substantial, it does stay up nicely and it's keeping me nice and cozy. So I'll pop a picture up so you can see what it looks like on. I do like this colour as well, so yeah, I'm really enjoying wearing this one and keeping cozy today. So the next thing that I wanted to share with you this morning is a new fabric that arrived at the weekend. I think it arrived, yeah, Saturday afternoon, a bit late after I'd finished filming my Saturday Vlogmas episode. And then I put it in the wash straight away. And then I popped it into the airing cupboard, and it's pretty much been drying in the airing cupboard ever since then. It's quite a long piece of fabric, so I had to kind of keep sort of adjusting the position because I know the bit at the top will dry the fastest, so I had to keep sort of moving it around to get it drying. That's the time of year, I guess. I didn't want to put it in the tumble dryer, so I thought, yeah, the airing cupboard would be a nice place for it to dry gently. So it is now finally dry, so I'll be able to show you it. And this is a fabric that I was gifted by Minerva in exchange for a blog post that I'll be writing on the website once I finish sewing this fabric up. And it's one of their viscose challis range, their Minerva exclusive viscose challis range that I think they launched earlier this year. It's a really cute print, and when I saw it, it just kind of, yeah, just talked to me a bit. I guess that sounds a bit silly, but you know what I mean? When you see a fabric and you just think, oh, I wasn't really looking for that fabric, but I just saw it and thought, yeah, actually, I'd love to sew with that. So this is the fabric here. So it's your viscose challis. It's got a lovely, lovely drape to it. And it's got this base colour. I thought when I looked on the website it was more of like a white or creamy base, but actually when it arrived it's got a little bit more of a kind of beige tone to it. And then the print on it is really cool. I don't know which way up it should be actually, but it's got this almost tropical leaf print with these really pretty colours in it. And it's in a sort of tile print, so it's really lovely detail. If I hold it up you can see, yeah, it's a lovely tile print to it. It's got some lovely colours as greens, different shades of greens, and then some yellows and reds and oranges. And I just thought it was really pretty and a little bit different. And I quite like the large scale of it. Yeah, so I just saw it and thought, oh, I'd really love to sew with that. And I knew exactly what I wanted to sew, which is a new dressing gown for summer. So if you've watched my videos for a while, you'll know that I actually sewed up a dressing gown for summer, I think just after Christmas last year in the new year, because I haven't had a dressing gown that I've liked to wear in the summer for ages. I've got a snuggly winter dressing gown that's really cosy. It's a ready to wear one, and I've had it for years, but it still washes up fine. I still like to wear it, so I don't really need to replace it with anything handmade because it works perfectly well. But I haven't got a summer dressing gown that I like to wear. I have made a couple though, but I just never seem to have any luck with making myself a summer dressing gown that I actually enjoy wearing. The first summer dressing gown I made was when I was really, really new to sewing, and I made it using this pattern here. I've got all my patterns out to share with you. So this is the original pattern I used. It's one of the big 4 patterns. It's a Simplicity Learn to Sew pattern. I think I picked it because I thought learn to sew, so it'll be quite good for beginners. And it's it's what's called 1946, and sort of family dressing gown pattern as well. Randomly, as sort of there's also a option to sew a dog bed along with this pattern too, which is a bit random. But yeah, so you can make a his and hers and children's dressing gowns. So I made my first dressing gown using this pattern. I'm not sure if I've got any pictures of that dressing gown. If I have, I'll put them up here, but I'm not sure if I do now. And I made it in a sort of cotton poplin type fabric, but it just wasn't really right, I think because of my inexperience at sewing. So I think the first thing I went wrong on when I was sewing this original dressing gown was in terms of the sizing. I think at that point when I was really new to sewing, I hadn't really heard of finished garment measurements. I wasn't really familiar with them, so I didn't really look at them, and the dressing gown ended up just too big on me. And it was just getting to the point where I was sort of trying to kind of sort of get it sort of to fit, but there was just too much fabric there. I couldn't pull it around enough to kind of get it to fit snugly around my waist. It felt like it was sort of too bulky there. It just didn't feel quite right. And I think I also used the wrong interfacing. I went for a slightly too stiff interfacing around the neckband. So it just didn't feel very comfy there either. So I didn't really wear it much. And although I really liked the fabric, it was really cute, ditzy, pink floral print fabric. The whole fit of the dressing gown just wasn't right for me. So yeah, that was my first dressing gown attempt. And I made that was a long time ago. And then I was without a summer dressing gown for quite a while, but kept thinking I would really like to make one. So last year, I think when I was looking at my Make 9, where I sort of decided on 9 patterns I'd like to make in 2022, I had a look and thought, really like to make a summer dressing gown so I can actually wear one this summer. So I made my second summer dressing gown, and I made that using another pattern, a newer pattern, which is this one here. I'll just pop it out of its pattern envelope. Is the Hayley Robe pattern by Tammy Handmade. And I thought it looked like a cute dressing gown. It looked like it was a bit more close fitting, which is what I wanted after having my experience of making one that was too oversized. So yeah, I decided to make one using the Hayley Robe pattern. And I bought some really lovely cotton lawn fabric from Fabric Godmother with this really cool tiger print on and a teal background. And I really, really loved that fabric. And I spent a while on this dressing gown, you know, arranging the placement of the tigers, because it's quite a large scale print. I'll put a picture up so you can see. It took a while, yes, I took a while sewing, I took my time, and I was really happy with it when I made it. But then actually when it got to summer, I just found again the fit wasn't quite right on me. I think on this one I'd erred on the size of the smaller size. I don't think the pattern has finished garment measurements, but based on my measurements I'd gone for the smaller size because I didn't want it to be too roomy. But actually it ends up a bit too snug, particularly under my armpits. It just felt a little bit too tight, and particularly because I often, as sort of summer pyjamas, I'll often wear like an oversized t-shirt in bed. So when I tried to put the dressing gown on over my oversized t-shirts, there just wasn't enough room, and the sleeves of the t-shirt were sort of bunching up. So it wasn't really that comfy in the end, unfortunately for me. I think it's a really nice pattern and a lot of other people really love it, but it just didn't really fit with my pyjamas, and maybe I should have sized up one, I don't know. But I love the fabrics, it's a real shame, but that one I ended up gifting on because I just wasn't wearing it. So yeah, that was a real shame, my second version. So I'm going to try third time lucky and try making a new dressing gown out of this fabric here. So it's a new fabric, it's a viscose challis this time, which I think will be lovely and drapey for summer. And I'm going to try a new pattern, and the pattern I'm going to try is actually one that I bought before I got the Hayley Robe pattern I was thinking of using, and then I was worried about it being too oversized, so I didn't go for it. But having had the experience of the Hayley Robe being a bit too narrow around the sleeves for me, I thought I'm going to try this one instead, and fingers crossed it'll come out okay. And I've heard lots of people really love this pattern, so I'm going to give it a go. And it's this pattern here. It is the Named Clothing Larger dressing gown. So this is another unisex pattern like the Simplicity one I showed you before. You can make it as for men or women. And it's got two lengths to it. It's got this shorter length dressing gown like the model's wearing here, or a slightly longer length. And it's just quite a relaxed fit dressing gown. I actually got out the pattern piece and compared them against the Hayley Robe in terms of the sleeves to make sure this one will be a bit wider, so that I could wear it with oversized t-shirts underneath. And the sleeves do look a lot roomier, so I'm hoping it'll work better for me. So in terms of sizing, this pattern goes from an extra small up to an extra, extra large, which takes you from a bust of 29 inches up to a bust of 51 5/8 of an inch. So yeah, that is the pattern that I'm going to give a go. I think in terms of sizing, when I look at my measurements, my bust measurement will put me as an extra small, and then my hip measurement will put me as a small, and my waist measurement is right on the borderline between those two sizes. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try it based on my measurements. I'm going to go for an extra small at the bust, and I'm going to grade out to a small at the hips. I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed that it comes out well in that size. So yeah, that is my plan. It does say it's designed to be a casually straight cut robe, so I don't think it's going to be too snug. And so I'm really looking forward to sewing in this fabric. I think it'll be a really fun fabric to have a dressing gown in. So the pattern, I think when I get to the sizing, for my sizes, or for the extra small and small, if you've got a fabric width of 150 centimetres like this fabric, you need 2.6 metres for the small, extra small, and 2.65 metres for the small. So I ordered 2.7 metres because I thought I might like to lengthen the sleeves and maybe lengthen the body slightly too, just to make it really, although it's going to be summer, I'd still like to have the full length sleeves. I think I'm going to go for that. So, because I think is there a shorter sleeve option too? Yeah, you can make crop sleeves, but no, I think I'm going to go for the full length sleeves still, and then I can always roll them up a little bit if I need to. So that is my plan for this fabric. So today I would really like to get all the pattern pieces traced out, ready to cut this fabric out. I also need to give this fabric a bit of an iron before I cut it out because it's got a bit, crinkly, or it's got lots of fold lines in for being sort of folded up in the airing cupboard, so I get it dry in there. So I'm really hoping it's third time lucky on the dressing gown. It does feel a bit silly to be sewing a summery dressing gown in winter, but I guess it means that hopefully I'll be able to get it sewn ready to enjoy as soon as the weather does start to warm up. I definitely wouldn't fancy wearing a viscose chalet robe right now. It's definitely straight into my very cosy, wintry, fleecy one this morning. But yeah, I think the fabric's really cute, so hopefully it will turn out well. So please keep your fingers crossed for me for my third dressing gown. It's just one of those things where I haven't had very good luck with how the patterns have turned out for me. Maybe I'm really picky when it comes to dressing gowns compared to other things, I don't know. But yeah, that is my plan for today, hopefully to get that one traced out. Oh, and I'll link this fabric down below in case you fancy having a look at it. I've sewn with a few of the Minerva exclusive viscose chalet fabrics now, and I really like them. They are really nice quality viscose fabrics, and they're really lovely and soft to feel, and they're not too lightweight, and they've got really nice drape to them as well. So yeah, they're nice fabrics. I'm looking forward to sewing with this one and keep my fingers crossed on it. So I think I'm going to go off now and do a bit of that tracing, because I've got a lot of my jobs done before I popped on. It's just coming up to 11 in the morning now. We've had the food shop delivered earlier, and I did a few other bits too. So yeah, it's time for a little bit of sewing time. So I'm going to leave you with a little bit of footage of me walking back on the school run so you can see what the snow looks like here, and I'll pop on again a bit later. So see you in a little bit. Bye! I hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit of my walk home from the school run this morning there. It's still quite snowy outside now actually. It doesn't seem to have melted. I'm guessing the temperature hasn't gone above 0 today. So I'll be wrapping up warm in a while when I go and get the children from school, and I don't think we'll go to the park today. I think we'll head straight home to get back in the warm. And my daughter, I think she'll come out of school quite excited today, because today they have a pantomime visiting the smaller years and putting on a performance in the school hall. So she was very excited about that this morning. My son is older, and they're going on a coach to a local pantomime at a local theatre later this week. So they both get a pantomime this week, which is nice. But anyway, I've been busy. I've traced out the larger dressing gown. I did go for the size extra small at the bust, and then I graded out to the small on the hips, and I've lengthened the sleeves and the main sort of dressing gown pieces both by 2 inches. I figure I'll sew them like that, and then I can always adjust and make them a bit shorter if I need to at the last minute. So I don't think I'm going to have a chance to start cutting into the fabric today. I think that'll be a job for tomorrow, because I've got to go and run a few errands now before I head out on the school run. So I'm going to have to brave going outside, which I've been putting off all day, staying inside in the nice warm. But I'll finish this video off here now, and I'll see you again tomorrow for Tuesday. So thank you for watching another day of my Vlogmas, and I'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. So yeah, see you again tomorrow. Bye!